All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of the tribe, what's going on? Welcome. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me clearly. Let's get some sound confirmation going on. All right. Let's get some sound confirmation going. My man Jay Short, what's going on? Good to see you in here. Ricardo, what's going on? Ali. Big shout out to you. Good to see you in here. Coming through with the ones now. Sean Hazel, Yakamira. There we go. What's going on? Yakira, excuse me. I said Yakamira. I messed that up, huh? All right. Big shout out to y'all tuning in. Annie, what's going on? Good to see you. And Mama Do. All right. Let's try this over on the TikTok side again. We're going to do it again. We're going to go for it one more time. All right. Yeah, okay. All right, so we're going to try this whole simulcasting thing one more time over on the TikTok side, and we are live on YouTube, so we'll see. So yeah, basically I got a few things to talk about tonight, but in particular talking about the nuances of prioritizing detoxification, right? And I'm going to go deep a little bit because y'all know I don't just really pigeonhole into one particular thing. We talk about detoxification in your food, but that also branches out to every aspect of your life, right? Every aspect of consumption, right? Because we consume a lot of things voluntarily as well as involuntarily. And so we have to prioritize detoxification, especially the fact that we live in a fairly hostile environment in ways that we may not really realize. And I wanted to talk a little more about this as well, because not only do I get asked about detoxes a lot, should I do a detox? What kind of detox should I do? That type of thing. But I also get asked, and by the way, big shout out to everybody tuning in on TikTok. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me clearly as well over on the TikTok side. But basically, somebody brought it to my attention of lead contamination in a lot of health foods that are in a powdered form, right? So that can be lead contamination in, for example, cacao powder, which was brought to me. So I have some research to do on that to see, just how prevalent this is, how much of an issue it is, how brand specific it is it, that type of thing. Does the lead levels... Are the lead levels prevalent as like a persistent thing? Does it change from month to month or periodically or what? So I got some looking into that, right? Because people can have sensitivities to that type of thing. And in my opinion, lead isn't really safe in any amount, really. Okay. So yeah, you definitely want to reduce your lead exposure as much as possible. Interestingly enough, I see a lot of people joining here on the TikTok. Big shout out to everybody tuning in on TikTok. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me clearly. For everybody coming in. Big shout out to Mama Do coming through with the roses. I appreciate that. So yeah, I'm going to try to cover as much as possible as far as detoxification goes with these issues, right? But luckily, when it comes to lead, you can detox from that too, especially if you have a fiber-rich diet and a water-rich diet. All right. But yeah, so basically, if you have had the misfortune of looking up lead contamination in our water here in the U.S., you'd start to realize that water contamination is a bit of a problem in ways that we may not really realize, right? Even though we live in a developed country in a first world nation, right, we got to have some type of precautions where perhaps if you go under your sink, there are water filtration units that you can attach underneath your sink, right, to the point where the water gets filtered out before it even passes through the nozzle, right? So there's things like that. There's machines that can filter and alkalize your water through like this type of this reverse osmosis process, right? To alkalize your water in a sense, using electricity and that type of thing. So there's machines that do that as well. But the biggest way to detox your body is really through the foods that you eat. So in particular, the things that detoxify your body are primarily going to be herbs, fruits, and what else? Yeah, predominantly herbs, fruits, teas. There's certain types of supplements as well that do this, right? But it's predominantly going to be your fruits and vegetables, or fruits, vegetables, and herbs, mainly. So earlier today, I released some content on this issue, right, where I talked about detoxing fruits in particular. And these detoxing fruits are fruits with this astringent quality to them, right? So they actually act as like a cleansing mechanism throughout your gut. Okay, and so that astringent quality of those foods are very important. This can even clean your teeth, right? So for example, you can clean your teeth eating apples, right? You can dissolve the plaque formation on the surface of your teeth and prevent like tartar buildup and whatnot on your teeth by eating certain types of fruits, right? So apples is one of them, and it's apple season, apple picking season, right? So yeah, this is a cleansing. This is a bit of a cleansing mechanism. The reason why we really have to put a premium on this, meaning that when we structure our diets, we always want to have these detoxifying elements in our diet. So that could be, if we're talking about herbal teas, this could be your basil tea, your nettle tea, ginger tea, green tea, moringa tea, right? These types of things. And then we have our leafy green vegetables. If you're trying to detox, it could be a good idea to eat anywhere from 1.5 to 3 pounds of leafy greens per day. Okay. So for example, 1.5 pounds of leafy greens can be like 2 heads of baby butter lettuce, or red baby butter lettuce, right? Or baby bok choy or something like that. It's like a small head of vegetable, right? You can put 2 of them together and it's around 1.5 pounds, right? Another option is where you consume anywhere from 4 to 6 pounds of these cleansing fruits per day. One of the most common ones that we know of is watermelon. Watermelon is one of those astringent fruits. So when people talk about like going on a watermelon cleanse, well, the watermelon works as a cleanse because of that astringent property, because of that cleansing property, right? And honestly, it's one of the most ideal ones because the water content is so high, which means you can eat a really big volume of it and really hydrate your body. It's very ideal for first thing in the morning, hydrating yourself. So basically, if you've been stuck in traffic with the windows down for whatever reason, you're inhaling a lot of toxins, right? Just walking around outside. If you're running, going for a daily run on the side of the road or something like that, you're inhaling toxins. If you work in any type of factory setting or manufacturing setting, you're inhaling toxins. If you're working from home and you could be having some mold buildup around your windowsills and in your bathroom, and then if you have your windows closed and your AC going, you're actually inhaling mold spores, which is also toxins as well, right? Mycotoxins, these spores that you're inhaling throughout the day. So in traffic, having the windows down is toxic. At home, having the windows up is toxic, right? It's all these different types of things we deal with. And then we got things like pet dander, we got excess pollen. Pollen, we're not supposed to have this much pollen in our environment, right? About 98% of the trees are male trees. It's not really supposed to be that way, right? We're supposed to have a balance of male and female trees. We're supposed to have fruit-producing trees in our environment. But when we just have these pollen-producing trees, we're just inhaling tons of it to an excessive degree, and that can cause us problems, right? Eye problems, histamine problems, gut health issues, all types of allergies, asthma, right? A lot of issues, okay? To the point where you could be getting like bronchitis and all of this nastiness. So, very important. So coming into this season now, having things like apples and pears is a staple in your diet. Eating cherries. Cherries can be a staple in your diet. They're kind of expensive, but they're definitely worth it, right? If you can get them. You don't have to get them every week necessarily, right? But it should be something that when you see it, you should probably put a premium on getting it. Blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, pineapple. Pineapple's actually really cheap, and it's a very good food for improving your gut health, right? And detoxifying, cleansing your body. And then grapes. Grapes are a big staple for me. I eat grapes pretty much like on a daily basis. Grapes are phenomenal. So right now for me, it's like pineapple, grapes, grapefruit, tangerines, and apples are some key staples for me, as well as pineapple, cantaloupe, watermelon, that type of thing. So these are big. And your leafy green vegetables, right? So I usually tell people either 4 to 8 cups of leafy greens a day or 1.5 to 3 pounds of leafy greens per day, right? But generally, and on another stream, I'm gonna have to bring on that big wooden bowl that I call Philip. I have this big wooden bowl, and I named it Philip. If y'all want me to show you, put a W in the chat. Yeah, if y'all want me to get up out of this seat and go and get it, put a W in the chat. I'm going to be answering questions and whatnot also, right? But I just want to open up here a bit and talk about the issue. So these are just some of the foods, right? So we got the guidelines of 1.5 to 3 pounds of leafy greens, 4 to 6 pounds of these astringent fruits, and then about 2 to 3 pounds of other fruits, mangoes, bananas, more energy-rich, carb-dominant fruits, right? So bananas are a big one. Bananas aren't necessarily like that astringent fruit, but it's really good for powering through, for like fueling muscle growth and things like that, right? Protein metabolism, muscle building, right? Bananas is a real muscle building food, right? So let's say you can eat a variety of these different detoxing astringent fruits throughout the day, but like also getting in anywhere from 1 to 2 pounds of those bananas a day, right? And you can even alternate between bananas and mangoes, as long as you still can get mangoes. But mangoes, sometimes they kind of run dry because they're out of season, so then we're left with bananas, right? But bananas are a solid staple, and they're pretty cheap as well. And then as far as nuts and seeds, right? And I'm a big fan of nuts and seeds. I'm a huge fan. So in particular, we're talking about hemp seeds, flax seeds, and chia seeds, right? And then we got pumpkin seed kernels, sunflower seed kernels. Those are the primary ones for me. At the top of my list, it's definitely for me right now, hemp seeds, specifically whole hemp seeds. And then we got sunflower seed kernels. Okay. And people, by the way, on TikTok, a few people asked me about candida, so I'm going to get into that as well. So we're just getting into it. But on the topic of candida, pumpkin seed kernels, really good for candida, really good for killing parasites and harmful bacteria. So pumpkin seeds are antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal. Okay. So pumpkin seeds are a real big deal. Yeah, hemp seeds are a really big deal. Hemp seeds are where you get a lot of your zinc, get a lot of iron, omega-3 essential fatty acids, and protein. So hemp seeds are a phenomenal source of protein, actually. So to put things into perspective, let's say if you were to do coconut yogurt, which is a good probiotic food. So like every day religiously, you have like 8 ounces of coconut yogurt, a quarter cup of whole hemp seeds, and then you top that with fruits, right? They could be peaches, kiwis, berries, hell, it could be bananas also, right? You can add some cinnamon in there. You can add a little bit of sea salt in there and kind of mix it around, right? You can puree it if you want more of like a smoothie bowl, or you could just mix it in with a spoon, do it that way also. And that is a phenomenal omega-3 essential fatty acid, omega-6 essential fatty acid, probiotic, antioxidant rich meal right there. That's a phenomenal like second meal of the day. That's a good post-workout meal. And if you really put a premium on training and recovery from training, and you want to get a bit more protein in your raw diet, you can add like a scoop of, let's say, pea protein isolate to it. Right, so you can do that as well, along with the hemp seeds. Okay. So yeah, basically, and then you have your leafy greens. Now, as far as your leafy greens are concerned, you've got your arugula, you've got spring mix, you've got watercress, you've got kale. Of course, everybody knows about kale. You got Swiss chard. Right? So there's a variety of different types of leafy greens to add into your diet, right? Bok choy, that kind of thing. Bok choy is a good one for me. I like bok choy, right? Chinese cabbage. Your bitters, eat your bitters. Very important for neutralizing candida if you have candida issues. Okay. By the way, for my folks on TikTok, definitely show me some love if you appreciate this information and double tap the screen to like the stream. All right, double tap the screen to like the stream. So I'm giving y'all some big time game tonight. So your bitters, right? That's big at battling candida, battling bacterial overgrowth in your upper gut. Reversing things like GERD, right? H. pylori is another big one. If you have something like H. pylori, those astringent fruits are really important, right? You may want to really put a priority on those things. That apple pectin would be really important for something like that. Grapefruit is a big one, okay? Grapefruit, grapes, red or green grapes, apples, your Granny Smith apples, right? Those are the bit more of like the kind of a bitter tart ones, but those are phenomenal. Juicing. Okay, so let's say, you're really trying to clear out your gut excess bacterial overgrowth, whatever the case is. You're waking up with tartar buildup and whatnot on the surface of your tongue. And you're like, oh, I got to really deal with this, right? This is like the surface of my tongue is coated in white. It's a bacterial issue, right? You're consuming way too much saturated fat and you're consuming way too much protein. And it's really feeding things like candida and SIBO and things like that, right? So your leafy greens, your astringent fruits, and then you've got things like moringa tea, your green tea, cinnamon tea, ginger, turmeric tea, where you combine ginger and turmeric together. So for example, you can do 1 gram of ginger powder, 1 gram of turmeric powder together. Okay. And you put that in your mug and you fill your mug with 8 to 10 ounces of hot water for tea, right? Like a mug like this size here. And I saw the W's y'all put in the chat too, so y'all gonna make me get up and get that bowl, huh? I saw some W's in there. At least on the TikTok side, right? Do we got the W's? Yeah, we got the W's on the, yeah, so I'm gonna get up and get that bowl. I'm gonna get it. Let me just complete my thoughts. Let me stay on track with it, right? Now, in addition to the teas, nettle tea, that's another one too. Peppermint tea. If you're having gas, bloating, or stomach pain, peppermint tea is a great reliever. Peppermint tea is a big one. Black seed oil. Okay, so basically the top there you can actually supplement with like medicinal oils, and my top 2 medicinal oils are black seed oil and oregano oil, or oil of oregano, however you want to call it. Those two. And what's interesting is there's a lot of peer-reviewed scientific data on the benefits of black seed oil and oil of oregano. And these things aren't really particularly studied that in detail as far as peer-reviewed data, right? Just to run the studies, this stuff costs money. They don't really test everything like they should. But those two are powerful. If you have a bacterial infection, if you have a fungal infection, black seed oil, oil of oregano are huge, and they work real quick. All right. Let me catch up with y'all a little bit here in the comments. Lewis, what's going on? Big shout out to you. I see you in there, brother. Pumpkin seed kernels grow your hair too. I bet. That's right. Pumpkin seed kernels are a big deal. That's right. Nay, what's going on in there? I see you. I told y'all folks on TikTok, I'm gonna be making the return. I think if I can keep this going for the Monday nights, we're gonna do the Monday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern. Keep that going. Absolutely. Catch up with y'all do y'all have any questions? Still learning. What's the best way to take black seed oil? Good question. So as far as black seed oil, by the way, if my folks on YouTube, hit that like button too. Like the stream if you like the stream. Right? I gotta be better about saying that kind of stuff. Dropping the CTAs. Definitely share with anybody who you think would benefit from this. Okay. So black seed oil, you can take a teaspoon of black seed oil straight. So you take 1 teaspoon of black seed oil straight. You can also, let's say you get like a teaspoon of black seed oil and then you add a little bit of lemon or lime juice to it. That works also. It makes it a little bit more palatable to do it that way. I like to just do the oil straight up. That's just me. It's not the greatest tasting thing. To me, it's not the worst, but some people, it's perturbing, right? Miss D, you know what I'm talking about if you in here. Big shout out to you. Doesn't turmeric need black pepper to be fully absorbed? No, it does not. No, it does not. And the thing too is that if you have like gut health issues where your gut is sensitive to spices, your gut is sensitive to peppers, mixing pepper in with that turmeric would be a no-no. That would be an agitator to your gut. If you're gonna do pepper, the softest one would be white pepper. Black pepper is rough. It's a strong pepper. Why do I still have high blood pressure after being on a plant-based diet for a decade? I exercise and do not eat processed foods. I eat very clean and exercise. That's interesting. So basically, it could be for a variety of reasons. I mean, again, just being on a plant-based diet is not necessarily a magic bullet. It all comes down to food choice, right? You could have high blood pressure because you're actually chronically dehydrated, right? You could be. So it could be, a lack of water-rich foods in your diet. It could be an imbalance between sodium and potassium in your diet. It could be that you're eating something that is irritating towards your gut. It could be a variety of different things. Now, what I will say is that the more raw your diet is, the more likely your blood pressure will be improved, right? So, for example, grapefruit is like the best blood pressure medication you can get, right? Grapefruit is nature's natural blood pressure medication. Let's say if you had a juicer, you could juice a celery, cucumber, and green apple. All right, that's a powerful vasodilator and really improves your blood pressure as well as your blood sugar, actually. So those are a couple things. If you do things like that, that really would improve your blood pressure. Also, not cooking with oil. So, for example, you have people where they'll be doing sauteed mushrooms and brown rice. They'll be doing, a bunch of tofu to get in protein. And the thing too is that actually, if you have blood pressure issues and you're consuming a lot of protein in your diet, that can actually run your blood pressure up as well. So consuming too much saturated fat and consuming too much protein can run your blood pressure up as well. So when you consume protein in the digestive process of protein, the breakdown of that protein into amino acids produces acid, right? Amino acids, right? And then that produces something called homocysteine. And one of the problems with that is as the homocysteine increases, interstitial fluid increases, and this creates friction. Interstitial fluid is the fluid between your cells, and basically that's the fluid that is needed in order to drive waste products through your lymphatic system and out through your kidneys, right? So the more acidic your diet is, and your diet becomes more acidic when you consume more protein and more fat. Okay, and I'm gonna get into the fat part, but I'm talking about protein right now. So when you're consuming a lot of proteins, you're producing a lot of amino acids. Those amino acids have to be used and converted into something else in order to balance out the pH in your body, right? So your body will take the amino acids and it'll create collagen elastin. It'll create different types of digestive enzymes and pepsin. It'll create hormones like testosterone, estrogen, progesterone. It'll create enzymes for your liver. It'll create HDL, right? Like high density lipids, low density lipids, basically lipoproteins, all types of stuff. And your body will also take those amino acids and convert them into glucose through the process of gluconeogenesis, right? So your body has all of these different mechanisms and ways to basically neutralize the acids and amino acids and take that molecule and convert it into something else, right? And then the excess nitrogen from the amino acids that's floating in your bloodstream, that will be regulated by being filtered out of your blood through your kidneys, right? So on a high protein diet, right, you can actually have a lot more protein or nitrogen coming out in your urine. And in fact, when you go to take a blood test or you test your kidneys, right, they measure blood urine nitrogen in your kidneys, right? And so that's called BUN, right? It's usually like with a capital BUN, BUN. It's blood urine nitrogen. And so when you're consuming a lot of protein and have a very acidic diet, this can run up that BUN number, and that indicates problems going on in your kidneys, right? Stress in your kidneys. And that oxidative stress that's going on inside your body would also break down muscle tissue, and then that would raise your creatinine levels, right? So creatine is a naturally produced molecule in your body, right? And if you eat a lot of red meat, you'll also get an increase in that creatine production. And then when that creatine is expended through muscular contractions and things like that, the byproduct of that is creatinine, and that has to be flowed through your kidneys and removed from your body as well. So those high creatinine and high BUN levels are are problematic in those numbers, right? So basically, if you have high BUN, high creatinine, that could also lead to high blood pressure. If you have an acidic diet and you have that increase in interstitial fluid, that can lead to edema, right? And edema, a lot of the times people end up having edema, which is swelling a lot of the times in the hands, wrists, feet, and lower legs, right? And that swelling is a result of that interstitial fluid accumulation to try to dilute the toxins that your body's trying to filter out. Okay. And so when you don't really properly leverage nutrition to alkalize your body, that can raise up your blood pressure. Because as that interstitial fluid expands, your vascular system narrows, right? Because it's a spatial contradiction. And so when you bring down the toxins and you bring down the homocysteine, the interstitial fluid retracts, and then your blood vessels and whatnot expand to a healthy level, and then your blood pressure drops to a healthy level. Getting into dietary fats. So you have polyunsaturated fats, monounsaturated fats, and saturated fat. The most beneficial forms of fats are polyunsaturated, and then monounsaturated, and then saturated fat is the worst of the three, right? In the scientific literature, there's a lot of research on polyunsaturated fats, right? Called PUFA for short. So you'll see, like in the studies in the literature, it'll be capital PUFA, which is polyunsaturated fatty acids. And what's interesting is polyunsaturated fat has an inverse effect from saturated fat. So for example, polyunsaturated fats, which primarily come from nuts and seeds or just plant-based sources in general, that improves blood pressure, it improves blood sugar, improves insulin sensitivity, improves liver and kidney health, whereas the saturated fat tends to do the opposite. It actually makes those things worse. So there's an inverse effect from these things. So, you know, when you're eating, let's say, chicken, pork, beef, whatever the case is, you're consuming butter, eggs, things like that. These are very high in saturated fat, which lead to a lot of these inflammatory issues, right? Now, if you're doing like dry roasted, you know, nuts like cashews, almonds, pistachios, dry roasted pumpkin seed kernels, sunflower seed kernels, things like that, you get much better results. Now, this is relevant to your blood pressure, right? When we get into food choice, okay? If you're eating a lot of soy in your diet, you may be overdoing it with the soybeans or the tofu and things like that, getting a lot of protein in your diet, and getting a lot of protein and getting a lot of calcium in your diet, right? And it may be a bit too much, okay? And so you may have to scale back the protein a little bit and prioritize more of the water and the fruits and leafy greens, more raw foods and things, and that would really improve that pressure. All right. I went in deep on that one, but just to give you more answers, more concrete answers for that. Oh, what happened? I cut out. You cut out so I don't hear all that. Hold on a second. Is my sound messed up? It looks like my sound is good. All right, BT, thank you for breaking it down. Appreciate you. Good questions though. Does the protein source matter regarding retention, production? Yeah, so the protein source does matter, but also the quantity. So generally speaking, what I tell people, for most people, 1 gram of protein per kilogram of lean mass is enough, generally speaking, right? The higher your carbohydrate content, the more antioxidants you have in your diet, the less oxidative stress you have, so you actually don't have to worry about catabolism or muscle breakdown as much, right? So you don't need to eat as much protein. So basically, nutrition is a zero-sum game. Let's see. How do you feel about holy basil seeds? I see they are high in protein and iron and fiber than chia and flax seeds. Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're great if you can get them, right? That's more of like a specialty item. But yeah, those are pretty good, right? I like basil in general. Let's see. I do all those things you mentioned. I also never eat seed oils. I don't eat a lot of tofu. Most of my protein comes from hemp seeds. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, you may, I would say, yeah. I would have to know basically what your meals. I would have to talk to you more personally, more in depth. Which, by the way, this is a great time to plug it. Okay, you can book a call with me. Or you can hit the link in the description of this video if you're watching on YouTube. And for those of you on TikTok, you can go to the bio. You can go to my profile and hit the link in my bio to book a call with me. So basically, if you have more of a complicated issue and you need more of a personal conversation, because I got to ask you, like, what are the top 5 foods you eat the most? How many meals a day do you eat? How much training volume per week are you doing? How's your sleep quality? That kind of thing. I would have to get more information about your lifestyle to be able to pinpoint where the gaps are. What do I think about natural flavors? So yeah, basically, I don't really have that much of a problem with natural flavors. It depends on what those natural flavors are, like what is you being used to create those natural flavors. So basically, it really depends. Like the more of these foods, processed foods with natural flavors you consume, the bit more problematic it becomes, right? So for example, what's a thing? What is a thing with natural flavors that I consume? What's a thing? What do I eat? I don't really eat anything really that uses the natural flavors. I'm trying to think. Maybe it's not natural flavors. I was gonna say liquid stevia, but that's stevia leaf, so that's not that. I've had pre-workouts actually that use natural flavors, right? It's like a scoop. You know, if it's a scoop a day or something like that, it's not really going to be much. But if you're eating a lot of things and processed foods with the natural flavors, it could be a problem for you. But more than likely, those processed foods in and of themselves would be more of a problem for you, honestly. Let's see. Luna Moon, how much berberine do you recommend daily? Berberine. That's been a thing I haven't spoken about in a while. Berberine. What is the, what is it like a gram a day or something like that, right? As far as berberine is concerned, as far as dosages. I got to look at the one that I have as a suggestion for the supplement. To look at my guidelines offhand, right? So it's about a gram, I believe, right? Is it? It's either going to be like a gram or 1.2 grams or something like that per day, right? That's like my general recommendation. Let's see. What's best to take for anemia? Okay, yeah. So basically, anemia, right? So, a lot of times people are anemic, not necessarily because they don't get enough iron, but it's because they don't get enough vitamin C, copper, iron, and B12 together, right? So you can get a lot of iron, but if you're low in vitamin C and copper and you're experiencing a lot of oxidative stress in your body from chronic illness, that can cause you to be more perpetually anemic, right? Because of liver issues and a conversion into new red blood cells and hemoglobin, that kind of thing. So when you reduce the oxidative stress in your body and you do a better job of hydrating your body, then the anemia goes away, right? So there's not like one thing that's a magic bullet for anemia, right? Because in order for your body to really absorb the iron and convert it, right, it needs to be chelated with an organic substance like vitamin C. The custom meal plan is just a custom meal plan based on our goals and issues. Yes. So it's based on like height, weight, what your goals are, food allergies, medications, and your timeline. So for example, you're looking to achieve a specific goal. How long of a process do you want it to be? What are your food sensitivities? How many times a day can you eat? That kind of thing. So yeah. Are there any benefits of drinking dandelion tea? Dandelion tea is actually really good for liver and kidney health. What is best for gout or to reverse gout? Oh, that's a good one. So yeah, definitely actually detoxing. So a lot of what I talked about tonight with the detoxes, right? So basically tonight what I talked about was like having more of those astringent foods, right? The grapefruit, the apples, the pears, the pineapple, the grapes, the watermelon, those types of things. Juicing celery with green Granny Smith apples, cucumber. Those definitely help with gout. Reducing your protein intake down to like around 10% of your macros on a daily basis, that also really helps with gout. Supplementing with magnesium, right? Increasing your magnesium intake, that could also really help with gout. Gout basically is an overproduction of uric acid, right? So basically when you consume protein, the digestive process of protein creates uric acid. The digestive process of dietary fat produces uric acid. So if your fat and protein intake is substantial, that can really drive up your uric acid levels. Also, dehydration raises uric acid, right? Dedicated for Life, what's going on? Good to see you in here. So yeah, basically all those things really drive up uric acid, right? But water, vitamin C, more raw foods, those astringent fruits, those things really bring down that uric acid, right? Vitamin C, thiamine, or just your B vitamins in general really, really bring down uric acid. Real quick too, pivoting back to iron, right? If you wanted to get more iron in your diet, kiwis, really good source of iron. Your leafy, you will definitely hit a surplus of your iron if you implement that quarter cup of hemp seeds in your diet. If you do like about 2 ounces of cashews, and you do that half cup of, you do that 1.5 pounds of leafy greens, you'll definitely reach your quota for iron. That's for sure. Okay. And then as far as vitamin C, if you wanted to get a lot of vitamin C in your diet, kiwis are a really good food for that. What else? Cherries. Actually, if you got gout, cherries is definitely worth it. Cherries are a really good food for gout. Cherries and pomegranate, right? So cherries and pomegranate, really good for gout. Good sources of iron as well. If you wanted to increase iron, beets. So you can juice beets. Beets are a very rich source of iron as well. Okay. Blueberries and blackberries, very rich source of iron. Strawberries, very, very big source of, yes, copper, but also vitamin C. Right. Sometimes in meal plans, I'll mix strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, and kiwis together, in like a fruit salad. Okay. And then in addition to that, you can do kiwis, blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, tangerines, and diced pears. And you can mix those together in a fruit salad. And you can mix some leafy greens in there as well, like a tender leafy green like romaine lettuce and spring mix in there. And then you can top it with lime juice and sprinkle sea salt on there. That's a really good fruit salad. All right. That's right. I'm giving y'all some good game on here tonight. I feel good tonight. For the folks on TikTok, definitely double tap the screen to like the stream. All right. Let me pivot back over to the YouTube. Where we at? Definitely the dehydration. I no longer drink tap or bottled water. I add pink salt, baking soda, Epsom salt, and no salt to my water all the time. I don't know if I'd recommend adding baking soda to your water. I don't know if I would do that. There may be some risks with like consuming baking soda. I think that adding the pink salt could be, that could be beneficial for your water intake. It would probably make more sense to add salt to food, right? Like a salad or something like that. I don't know if I would add it to my water, but let's see what else. I would definitely add things like lemon and lime to water. I would add liquid chlorophyll to water. That's a good thing to add to water. If you wanted to infuse your water with a little something, right? That's good. One thing that used to really help my gut is drinking water with a couple drops of peppermint oil in it. That's really good too. Rheumatoid arthritis. Yep, the vitamin C definitely helps big time. A lot of those raw foods. Yeah, having more of like a raw diet definitely helps with the rheumatoid arthritis. Bringing down the protein intake and getting more vitamin D. So getting more direct sun exposure during the day, supplementing with vitamin D, like around anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 IUs of vitamin D. A lot of times when people have rheumatoid arthritis, they have a vitamin D deficiency. So it could be a good idea to supplement with magnesium malate, right? So, you can add magnesium malate as a supplement to your water with liquid chlorophyll, 2 grams of taurine. And you can drink that down. That's really good for rheumatoid arthritis. If you get more magnesium and vitamin D in your diet. Supplementing with zinc. A raw diet, like either a fully raw or high raw diets tend to be very rich in copper. So you don't have to worry about a copper or a zinc imbalance if you're doing 15 to 30 milligrams of zinc per day, like zinc picolinate or something like that. So that's a good recommendation for that. Do you only do body weight and bands? Yep, I only train with body weight and resistance bands. No gym, no dumbbells, no barbells. I haven't been using any of that. Let's see, still learning. I had the same edema condition. I didn't know why. Condition went away. So far, so good. Also drink activated water as well as structured water from fruits and vegetables. That's right. Getting those astringent fruits in there. Let me tell you something. Your kidneys will love you for it. Interestingly enough, all those astringent foods are all kidney healthy foods. Those are foods that directly improve your kidney health. So when somebody comes to me with kidney disease, we definitely really focus on getting in more of those astringent fruits, water-rich fruits, the leafy greens, and we bring that dietary fat down to about like around 10 to 12%. I mean, the dietary protein down to 10 to 12%. If the diet is fully raw, we increase the fruits and we increase the fats a bit more, but the fats are overwhelmingly going to be from polyunsaturated sources. All right. Oh, you have acid reflux. What kind of diet should I be on? Yeah, I mean a raw food diet, more of like a fruitarian style raw diet would definitely be very beneficial if you got acid reflux. I've had people with acid. I pretty much have 100% success rate with reversing acid reflux. It's a very easy thing to fix. What is good for polyps on the colon? Oh, colon polyps. A probiotic, number one. Probiotic foods, number two. So that would be things like sauerkraut, kimchi, pickles, kombucha, coconut yogurt, cashew yogurt, almond yogurt, that kind of thing, right? So definitely getting the good gut flora up. Your prebiotic foods, so things like leeks, Jerusalem artichoke, your leafy green vegetables, getting in herbs like basil, thyme, right? Those are very beneficial. Herbs are powerful. Ginger, turmeric, right? Those are really powerful too for healing your colon. You definitely got to have a water-rich diet, right? Grapefruit, that's big. Cherries, strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, oh, those are good too. Apples are going to be a big one. Pumpkin seed kernels and hemp seeds. Okay. Alfalfa. I got to talk more about alfalfa. Alfalfa sprouts. That's good. That's good stuff also. Yeah. Going to grab a custom diet plan too. There you go. Yeah, definitely when you're ready, jump on in. So when you sign up for a custom diet plan, actually, we get on a call about it. So what you can do is when you sign up for a custom diet plan and you let me know what your issues are and what you're trying to fix, and I can create, typically what I do is I create like a mock diet plan so that when we get on a call together, we go over the plan and then we can adjust it more to your liking from there. And then that will be like the finalized version. So that's typically how we do the custom diet plan thing. And then you also get access to my Discord, my member Discord, right? So you have like support, so if you need to like ask questions or things like that, you'll be able to communicate with me directly through the Discord, right? So I answer my messages in the Discord and whatnot as well. Top 5 raw superfoods. Top 5. Damn, what are the top 5? I'm biased. I'm probably going to say watermelon, grapes, grapefruit, kiwis, coconut yogurt, spring mix, hemp seeds. I know I'm going to mention way more than 5. It's a lot of different foods because you can eat about 15 to 20 different foods a day. Right, so you can get a lot of diversity in your diet. All right. Ooh, that's right. This is another thing I was going to do a video about too, gaining weight on a raw diet, because you actually can too. And this is another thing that I want to get into. So basically on a raw diet, when you're detoxifying your body, basically detoxification of your body is it's a cellular decongestion. Think about like if you're got a lot of toxins and a lot of acid accumulation in your body, it's like having a stuffy nose, except that stuffy nose is your entire body, right? So like, for example, if you have like high blood pressure, high blood sugar, that's like having a congested stuffy nose, but like your body is a congested stuffy nose, right? And so basically, if your nose is congested, you can't breathe in, which impedes your body's ability to absorb oxygen. Your cells can't multiply if there's limited oxygen. So it makes it harder for you to actually gain weight. When I say gain weight, I mean like gain muscle mass and whatnot. Because if you just want to gain weight, you could be gaining water weight, you could be gaining muscle mass weight, you could be gaining fat mass weight. So there's different types of ways to gain fat, but when you say gain weight, I'm assuming you mean muscle mass. So when you decongest your cells, this makes it a lot easier to grow muscle mass, right? Like your average person who's struggling to build muscle mass is because their body is congested. They have this cellular congestion, right? Like insulin resistance, for example, is lipotoxicity. So you have like your skeletal muscle tissue is storing too much ectopic fat inside the cells, and that can impede your cell's ability to take up glucose out of your bloodstream. So you get this high blood sugar, but then you have like this low energy state inside your cells, and then your cells can then shrink and die off as a result because they're basically starving. There's a lack of oxygen to the cells, there's a lack of water to the cells, there's a lack of glucose to the cells. So the cells pretty much they starve and die off. And so then if you're training, let's say you're doing cardio, you're going working out, you're lifting weights, and then the more you train, the worse you feel, your sleep quality falls off a cliff, you start losing muscle mass, you feel like you're getting weaker, you get kind of depressed and anxious, right? Things kind of go off the rails as a result. Because you have to address that cellular congestion. So for me, it's not hard for me to gain muscle mass, right? As y'all can tell by my physique and whatnot, if y'all seen my training videos and things like that. I train like 3 times a week. I do 1 set per exercise. My training sessions are typically like 30 minutes or so. I don't even have a gym membership, right? So people could say, oh, well, that was like, you built muscle like years ago. Well, even if I built muscle years ago, that doesn't mean I'm still going to have it now if I don't maintain the training and the conditions that it's meant to grow and sustain that muscle, right? So a great example is you can have a guy who, he has a ton of muscle mass, competitive bodybuilder, whatever the case is, right? And then he ends up getting a really bad injury and he hurts let's say he breaks a leg or something like that. Or he gets a really bad injury, like he hurts his shoulder and so he's not able to lift weights, right? He can't move his shoulder or anything at all, right? Those guys fall out of shape super quick. They lose a ton of muscle mass. They kind of get fat. They get a little skinny fat, that type of thing. I've seen it. That muscle mass just starts withering away, right? Now, even though they've built the muscle previously, that doesn't really mean anything if they're no longer able to train. And it doesn't matter because they can eat the same and still not retain the muscle mass, right? Your muscle mass depends on your training and the recovery from the training. Those are the 2 things that matter, right? It doesn't matter how long ago you built the muscle. You need to maintain the environment inside your body to be able to grow and maintain that muscle mass, okay? And so going back to my quote, and this is a principled quote, anything that isn't growing is dying. So you better learn how to live or die trying, right? It's the quote of the year. It's a big deal. Never forget that. Anything that isn't growing is dying, okay? There's no maintenance. So we know this because if let's say you don't eat for 20 days, you will lose weight. You'll lose a lot of things, right? So yeah, basically if your body is toxic, your kidneys are toxic, you got a lot of acid accumulation inside your cells, you cannot grow until you fix that congestion. And this is why it's so important to prioritize that detoxification of your body. So people want to do all of this. Oh, I got to maximize protein intake. I got to eat as many calories as possible because you got to eat big to get big, right? You can get away with that for a few years, but it's not sustainable. This is why you have like elite level bodybuilders dying at, 36, 40, 45, right? And a lot of them, they ask me for help. Hey, my kidneys are shot. I'm having kidney problems. Women come to me, I'm having adrenal fatigue issues, I'm having hormonal issues, or whatever the case is. So I'm looking to give this plant-based thing a try. You can run your body really hard and get really good results in the short term, but you pay for it in the back end. It's like a debt, right? You can get a credit card and have a $50,000 credit line, and you could just start cashing out and buying stuff, right? And you have this period where your purchases are like interest-free for like 12 months or something like this, right? So you swiping that card, $50,000, boom, right? And you buying big screen TVs, you're buying clothes, you're going on trips, right? You are just riding that credit card hard. But when that bill comes due, you better have that money because you owe. So a lot of the times, the things that we're doing in our life, understand nothing is free. It's not free. So if you're going to maximize for, weight loss, where you're going to do crazy stuff to lose weight, or you're going to maximize protein consumption and do crazy stuff to gain muscle mass, it's not free. It's not free, right? You can train your ass off and get big if you want. It's not free. And if you look at like all the 80 and 90-year-olds and the 100-year-olds that are in like really healthy, good cognitive function, they're driving, they live by themselves, they're active, they walk several miles a day, they're in the gym working out. You ever see like those really healthy 80, 90-year-olds and whatnot? They're like majestic creatures. None of them are big. They're lean. And when you talk to them, they're very articulate. When you talk to them, they're sharp, right? And they're very disciplined. None of them are big. Some of them could have been big in the past, but it's not sustainable. Now, getting down to brass tacks and talk about the numbers, I think a good goal, if you really want to maximize muscle growth and get as close to your genetic potential as you can, naturally, you can put on, and it's a good goal to put on around 24 to 30 pounds of lean mass. And you can get there in like 3 years. You can get there in 2 years. If you really grind and you really work your ass off and committed to it, you can get there in 2 years. In 1 year, you can put on 12 pounds of lean mass. In the next year, you can put on like a good 8 pounds. Right? If you're really diligent and you're real serious, you can put on, in that first year, you can put on 16 pounds of lean mass. You can. And in the second year, you can put on another 8, 10 pounds of lean mass. But the more years you go, you get diminishing returns. It gets harder to put on muscle mass the longer you train, right? So you can hit that 24 to 30 pound lean mass, and you can maintain that throughout your life. Right? You'll lose a little bit of it as you get older, naturally, because a part of the aging process, you can slow down the aging process, but you can't eliminate it entirely, right? The energy that we've been riding our entire lives, right? At some point in time, we have to pass the torch. That's how everything works. But we can give it a good run. It just depends on how far you want to go and how long you want to enjoy the journey of life for. We're getting deep tonight. Look at Ronnie Coleman and his body. It's a mess. Yeah, I'm telling you. And Ronnie Coleman is a legend. But he had to pay that bill. I like the Siggy's coconut yogurts. Do you suggest a plain sweetened versus vanilla or fruit flavor? It doesn't matter. I'm more biased towards the plain version and then sweeten it yourself. Right? So like I get things like unsweetened, like I get unsweetened like pea protein isolate, I get unsweetened magnesium, I get like unsweetened taurine, I get unsweetened creatine. Right? Those are like some supplements that I would take, right? Unsweetened citrulline. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I don't really get things flavored. So you can add the flavor yourself. So for example, you can get like mango flavored coconut, or you can just get the unflavored one and put mango in it. Right? You can add some liquid stevia to it if you want. You can add some brown sugar to it if you want. You know, dress it up. Ooh, eczema. Yeah, see, there we go. So basically eczema, again, going back to the astringent properties of fruits, right? Also was a bit, so on top of a detoxing diet, If you're dealing with eczema issues, chances are you also have a vitamin D and a magnesium deficiency. Right, so yeah, eczema, that works. The whole thing that I've been talking about tonight, that works for eczema as well. Yep. Let me get back over here to y'all on the TikTok. How can you eat raw if you can't chow hard veggies? I assume you mean like broccoli, cauliflower, things like that. I don't really particularly eat those things if I'm on a more raw diet. I eat more tender leafy greens. So I would eat more like spinach, kale, arugula, Swiss chard, different types of lettuce, that type of thing. But yeah, the broccoli and the cauliflower, I'm not really eating that stuff raw now. I went raw December 1st, 2023, now on day 70 of a juice cleanse, trying to avoid a hysterectomy. Did I say that right? Yep, hysterectomy. There we go. Yeah. Avoid a hysterectomy like the plague. Avoid it as much as humanly possible. How do you properly detox? Well, I've been explaining how to do that for the last hour. I don't know if everybody wants to hear me repeat it, but a brief recap, I would say 2 to 4 pounds. Yeah, 2 to 4 pounds or even 6 pounds of detoxing fruit, specifically with an astringent quality to it, like apples, pears, grapes, pineapple, watermelon, grapes, grapefruit. And then also lemon and lime, right? Those are some ones also. And then 1.5 pounds to 3 pounds of leafy greens per day. Oh, by the way, leafy greens, like in a salad, is really good paired with your dietary fats. So when you do your leafy greens, that's where you can really add in like your avocado, your cashews, pistachios, hemp seeds. What else? Sunflower seed kernels, pumpkin seed kernels, that kind of thing. Okay. Within the one salad, I mean, you can do, if you're like me, you can do the whole 1.5 pounds of leafy greens in one shot. It depends on how much of a stomach you got for it, right? Or you can work your way up. You can split the leafy greens up. You can have various different salads throughout the day. Get used to chewing your foods. People want to throw things in a juicer and a blender all the time, but you should be chewing your foods. Okay, let that work your jaw. It's very important for your dental health. You don't chew your food, your teeth will fall out your mouth a lot sooner than you would like, right? So to maintain the quality and health, not only of your teeth, but your gums, chew your food. I am low in vitamin D. What can I eat or take to help it? So yeah, you can definitely supplement with vitamin D3, preferably a plant-based version. And you can also, you can eat mushrooms. So mushrooms contain vitamin D2, which converts into D3 in your gut, albeit a small portion, but hey, you take every little bit you can get. So yeah, the mushrooms are really good for that too. But yeah, and then direct sunlight. Because vitamin D is not really particularly a vitamin, right? It's more of a hormone. So basically, your body synthesizes vitamin D when you're exposed to direct sunlight, right? So it's a chemical reaction that your body produces. It's a hormonal response, right? So basically, your liver will make what's called D25 hydroxy, right? As a reaction to the exposure from the sunlight. All right, so definitely supplement with it and get outside during the daytime to get that direct sun exposure. Oh, who's that? Shane Johnson. Appreciate you. Thank you for the rose. That's right. I appreciate y'all dropping the roses in the chat. Mama do coming through with the roses. I appreciate that. How do you build muscle eating raw? Oh, by the way, the replay for this live stream will be up on my YouTube channel to rewatch it. So for those of you on TikTok, you may want to go over to my YouTube channel when I log off tonight. And, you know, if you came in late, you'll be able to watch the replay. All right. I'm juicing because I'm greedy and I was gaining weight on raw. Way too many nuts, oils, and avocado. Oh yeah, see the thing is, yeah. So it depends, right? Oh yeah. By the way, let me get on track with it. Okay, so how do you build muscle eating raw? I eat lots of beef, but want to get off without losing muscle. Yeah. So the primary driver of muscle growth is carbohydrates and water, right? So your diet actually should be dominant in carbohydrates and water. The protein is necessary too, but like 1 gram of protein per kilogram of lean mass generally is enough. Depending on how close to your genetic ceiling you are and how athletic you are, your protein can be a bit higher, right? It can be around 1.4 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of lean mass. Okay. To put things into perspective, I am 160 pounds and like 10% body fat, right? It's either 10 or 12, something like that. And I really only need about like 60 grams of protein a day. Incidentally, I end up eating more like 110, somewhere around there. Right. So basically, you know, I eat about 8 ounces of nuts and seeds a day. So that right there is like 45 to 50 grams of protein from just the nuts and seeds. And then I get another 20 grams of protein from the fruit. The leafy greens give me like another 10 grams. And then also the hemp seeds, which I kind of have to count separately because those are really high in protein. I get another 12 grams from that. And then I do like a smoothie with the hemp seeds in it. And I'll put like pea protein isolate in it and PB Fit, which is powdered peanuts. Right, so I get over 100 grams a day. You don't have to. I just like structuring my diet that way when I'm fully raw. All right. But yeah, so basically, I mean, you can eat a lot of beef, but just understand that's not free. Right? If you believe in universal law, it's very important to understand that anything that thrives on the mass death of others has a very short life. There is no living creature alive on this planet that kills a lot of other living beings and lives a long life. Nothing. Doesn't work that way. Even human empires don't work that way. So the more violent an empire is and the more wars and death an empire causes, the shorter that empire lives. Look at the United States. The United States is the most violent state nation in human existence. And by the looks of it, going to be the shortest lived one. The shortest lived empire. Okay, even shorter than Britain. And Britain didn't particularly last that long either. So even back before Rome, and you go to Rome, Italy, Britain, Germany, that was a blip. And then the US, right? I mean, hell, Israel might fall before the US with the economic troubles they've been having. Because, again, the more death and destruction you cause, the shorter your life will be. So when you are eating tons of meat from dead corpses on a daily basis, that is not free. There's a price to pay for that. That is universal law. I didn't write the rules, and if anybody disagrees with me, give me an example that contradicts that. Right? That's just how energy works. Anything that sucks in a lot of energy burns out really quickly. I mean, hell, even viruses. So the more aggressive a virus is, the shorter of a lifespan it has. So like a virus that kills you in a very short period of time, it dies off very rapidly without a host. Right? Okay. Somebody said whales. What about whales? I don't know a whole lot about whales, admittedly. Oh yeah, how do I gain muscle mass if I have a high metabolism? I eat fat, but I'm not getting bigger, just my belly. Well, yeah, so basically, if you want to actually gain muscle mass, that's more predicated on how you train. So like, for example, if you eat a lot, but you're overeating, just because you're eating more doesn't necessarily mean you're going to gain muscle mass faster. That's not really how it is. Because muscle mass is under a time constraint. It actually takes a long time for your body to grow muscle mass. So if your intake of energy is far exceeding the muscle growth itself, well, then you're going to get a lot of fat storage as a result. And chances are, if you're eating a lot of dietary fats in an excessive degree, that's what's causing you to gain more of the belly fat, right? So yeah, your food consumption, your energy consumption has to be in line with energy expenditure. Oh, summer is almost over. Don't remind me, I'm not ready. Is shark liver all good to take? I wouldn't consume no shark liver. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't consume the liver of any animal. I wouldn't do that. No, no, no. I wouldn't do that. Liver is actually very toxic when eaten to any significant degree. Liver is like a filter of your human body. It's a filter. So understand that toxins, they get processed and filtered through your liver. Okay, cigarette smoke, alcohol consumption, medication, heavy metals, all of that has to run through your liver at some point. So with animals, it's the same thing. So I particularly, I wouldn't eat liver. Also, you got to deal with vitaminosis. So vitamin A, E, D, and K all have to be processed through your liver. They're fat-soluble vitamins. So if you're eating liver, you're going to be getting an excessive amount of fat-soluble vitamins, which leads to vitaminosis, which has some very bad consequences. That's not really a good idea. They recommend walk 10 minutes after every meal. What's your thoughts? I mean, I guess you could do that. So basically, let's say if you eat 3 meals a day, you walk 30 minutes a day. I mean, that's a strategy, right? It's better to get the walking in as opposed to not walk at all. I mean, look, you can eat for 10 minutes after every meal, or you can just walk just 30 minutes straight in one shot. Either one works. I actually have to do another stream about building muscle mass. Is rice bad for us? I don't think so. I don't think rice is bad. No. I think it matters how much of it you eat, though. So, for example, like, it depends on how much of a portion of your diet it is. So, for example, the more rice you eat, the less of other things you eat. So, there's things, so like water is not, like rice is not water rich. It's not particularly rich in vitamin C. Um, so that, you know, it's actually a rich source of B vitamins. Doesn't really have the carotenoids and the polyphenols and whatnot, and the water content, which is big for me. So, I mean, rice is not bad, but you know, it just depends on how much you eat. It's a matter of dosage. Interestingly enough, I don't really eat much rice. I think right now, probably over the last year or 2 years, this is the least amount of rice I've ever eaten in my life in a calendar year. I barely eat rice, actually. I don't even have rice in the house right now. I don't have rice in my pantry. Like I haven't eaten rice for a really long time, actually. What fruits would you recommend for someone with fibromyalgia? That's a good question. Avocado, grapefruit, grapes, pineapple, cucumber, watermelon, cherries, kiwis, berries. Oh, what you said? You skipped over my question twice. Just say you don't know what HS is. What is HS? I don't skip people's questions on purpose. Even like ridiculous. Even when people ask me questions that I might find to be ridiculous, I don't really skip over them. But yeah, I don't know what you're referring to when you say HS. So yeah, you're gonna have to tell me what HS is. Let's see, thoughts on nightshades. Some say that even if you don't have an issue, when they are consumed, they can cause issues later on. I mean, again, it's a matter of dosage, right? So if you don't have if you don't have like a gut sensitivity to nightshades, I don't really think it's going to be a problem for you. But yeah, it's a matter of dosage. I really haven't had anybody who like they don't have a sensitivity to it. Usually the only people who have sensitivities to nightshades are the people who have some sort of compromised gut health issue. Let's see. Have you ever sprouted wild rice? I heard it can be eaten raw. I have not sprouted wild rice. I definitely wouldn't eat. Well, no, that's not true. If you're gonna eat raw wild rice, you probably should sprout it first. I definitely wouldn't just eat like dry wild rice. I probably wouldn't do that. Likes are at 26K on TikTok. Are they? Oh, wait a minute. No, it's 16,000 on my end. Maybe it's a lot higher than that. It's a lag on my end. I don't know. But definitely for the folks on TikTok, double tap the stream to like the stream. Let's see if we can get to that 26,000. All right. I've always heard liver was good for iron. There's definitely going to be a lot of iron in livers because it's a big liver storage. Like a big part of your iron storage is in your liver. Oh, whales as in the animal. Killer whales live 90 years. Well, I mean, so basically if you look at like whales, like the actual animal, like killer whales, they live for a long time, but they're not destructive, right? So like that's kind of the big difference. If you look at like how much whales eat compared to their body size and how often they eat, whales are actually not that destructive, right? So like whales aren't responsible for like mass death and destruction. So yeah, whales don't really meet the criteria. That's a good one. I had to really think about that. You know what? I'm kind of curious now. I want to look into whales. Like how much exactly do whales eat? I'm kind of curious. Um, but yeah, whales are huge though, actually. So like in order for them to have that kind of size though, they would need to eat a considerable amount compared to their actual size. So now I'm kind of curious. Let's see. HS is high school? I'm kind of curious at it because they're like, oh, just say you don't know what HS is. And I'm like, all right, I'll say I don't know what HS is. I don't know. I don't know everything. I don't claim to know everything. People have asked me about things on the stream before, like, oh, what do you think of this? And I'm like, I don't know what that is. Sometimes I don't know, right? There's a lot of things I don't know. All right, so I'm more than happy to say I don't know something. You know, I don't need to sit up here and pretend like I know everything. Usually what I do when somebody asks me about something and I don't know what it is, I'll ask them what it is and then take a note of it and then go research it. So when people are like, how do you know so much? You're like a human encyclopedia. And I'm like, well, because I started off not knowing a lot of things and then people bring things to my attention. I really look into them. And I keep doing that over a period of years. We got to be humble. We got to be humble. Tracy Mack, thank you for the 34 roses. Appreciate you. Tracy Mack coming through with the 34 roses. Over on the TikTok. TikTok is popping. Big shout out to the folks on TikTok. I got to talk more about training strategy, right? Because people ask me a lot about how to build muscle. And it's this thing, you know, where people say like, a muscle is made in the kitchen. I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Nutrition is important, but like, you know, your nutrition can be, your diet can be really on point. That doesn't mean that you're going to gain muscle, right? It's your training. And, you know, in order to gain muscle, you have to it requires effort. It requires a lot of effort over a prolonged period of time to gain muscle mass. And not only does it require a lot of effort over a prolonged period of time, you also need adequate recovery on a very consistent basis. You need both. So you could train really hard, but if you're not recovering, if you're not sleeping well, you're not growing. You could be sleeping really well, but you don't really train that hard. Well, that's going to minimize the return on the investment of your time. You're not really going to get much growth in return. So you got to have both, and then you got to have like a solid diet that undergirds your efforts, right? So it's a bit more nuanced than that. What do I think about macadamia nuts? Macadamia nuts are actually really good. I don't eat macadamia nuts very often, for me personally, but yeah, macadamia nuts are pretty good. Oh, new here and follow on IG. There we go. What's going on? Good to see you tuning in. Do I know anything about Hashimoto's thyroiditis? Yes. I've done a few videos on Hashimoto's. So basically, a lot of the times people with Hashimoto's tend to have a vitamin D and magnesium deficiency. That's the case with a lot of autoimmune disease. I actually did a video on TikTok about it. So like one of the best things that you can do is supplement with vitamin D and magnesium together. The reason why is because magnesium serves as a currency for vitamin D conversion. A lot of the times people, even when they supplement with vitamin D, they don't increase their vitamin D numbers because they don't have enough magnesium stores in their body to adequately make the conversion. So you actually need to increase the amount of magnesium. Interestingly enough, like a raw or high raw vegan diet gives you a real big abundance of magnesium in your diet. So you can supplement with like a magnesium malate or a magnesium biglycinate, or you can do both depending on how you structure it. So you can do like magnesium malate early in the morning in a smoothie or something like that, and the magnesium biglycinate at night before bed with about 15 to 30 milligrams of zinc picolinate. And that's phenomenal for sleep quality in reducing autoimmune disease or reversing autoimmune disease. That's a big protocol of mine. When people come to me with autoimmune disease, definitely that zinc, magnesium, and vitamin D play a big role. Sometimes, like for instance, if you have like a thyroid issue or adrenal fatigue, B complex could be really beneficial, but specifically like a food-based B complex that's very rich in thiamine So around like 30% of the dosage of your daily RDI should be in thiamine. Right? So yeah, so there's some tips there. And of course, you know, having more of a detoxifying diet is definitely good for that. So a probiotic, I don't talk enough about taking probiotics too. There's this probiotic that I'm going to look into called Seed. And that's got pretty good reviews, that probiotics. I'm going to look more into that. But if you get a probiotic, it should have like around 50 to 60 billion IU. Or I'm not IU, CFU. Right? And you can take one of those a day, and that's also really good because autoimmune disease tends to be like gut related. So if you have a compromised gut microbiome, that can cause you to develop autoimmune disease, right? So the most common ones, in my experience, I've had the most success with helping people reverse lupus, Hashimoto's, eczema, and MS. And then also Crohn's and colitis. But I don't really have that many people come to me with Crohn's and colitis, evidently. So yeah, those are the ones that I've had like the most success with in my experience. If you have hypothyroidism but not Hashimoto's, right? That's often a fatty liver issue, right? So chances are, you know, if you have like a hypothyroid issues, chances are you have a magnesium and vitamin D deficiency. You're chronically dehydrated, right? So you have to improve your insulin sensitivity, which means it would be a good idea to really scale back your protein intake to about 10 to 12% of your macros and bring your dietary fats down to eat in between 10 and 25% with your fats predominantly coming from polyunsaturated fat sources. Okay. Dedicated for Life, thank you for the 10 TikToks. The 2 BFF necklaces. Look, that's cool, a BFF necklace. There you go. And the 30 donuts. Oh, not 30 donuts. There's 1 donut. There we go. I appreciate you. Thank you. Why? Thank you for the hand heart. Your username is Why. Mindfully Modest. Thank you for the 5 roses. Dedicated for Life. Appreciate you for the heart me. I gotta scroll back up and get to these. And thank you for the Dedicated for Life coming through with the gifts today. Thank you for the perfume. Appreciate you. I appreciate y'all generosity contributing to the stream tonight. There you go. Why? Thank you for the 5 roses. We dropping gems tonight. I would like to learn more about micro and macro eating. Yeah, I got to get back on the streams because I talk a lot about that stuff on the stream here. Tracy Mack, thank you for the paper crane. Appreciate you. Anna, what's going on? Good to see you. Welcome to the stream. I see you there. But yeah, thankful. I would like to learn more about micro and macro eating habits. Oh, you're talking about not macro, no, you're talking about eating habits. When you say micro and macro eating habits, I don't know if I understand what you mean by that. Oh, here we go. Why? Thank you for the cap. The TikTok cap. Yeah, so basically, like, how would you describe like what qualifies as a micro eating habit versus a macro eating habit? Like, how would you differentiate the difference between the two? Right? I'm kind of anxious about it because I don't know if I've heard that concept before. Judah, need your help soon. Hey, look, I ain't going nowhere. You know what I mean? I'm full time. I'm about it. Welcome to the journey. What are your thoughts on fruit sugar and the fruit sugar and cold pressed juices? I juice a lot of fruits for breakfast, but have been told it's harmful. The only time sugar is really harmful is when it's disproportionate to the other micronutrients in your diet. So for example, sugar should be accompanied by a significant amount of water, vitamin C, B vitamins, and potassium, to name a few things. Your diet should also be abundant in magnesium, right? So ideally, in order to make sure that you're not getting like a sugar congestion, so to speak, I guess. You need a diet that is rich in the five alkalizing macro minerals. So that's going to be calcium, potassium, magnesium, manganese, and iron. Those are the five, right? If you're deficient in those things, then that's when you become more susceptible to things like insulin resistance, full-blown diabetes, high blood pressure, fatty liver disease, kidney disease, etc. By the way, the crazy thing about kidney disease is like 90% of people with kidney disease don't even know they have kidney disease. Miss D, the matriarch of the tribe, what's going on? Good to see you on here. I don't know about micro eating, but I used to eat macrobiotic diet. I used to eat macrobiotic diet. Majority superfoods, herbs, vegetables, and fruits. Well, that's kind of like what you're doing now, right? Yeah. Would you suggest to make smoothies with frozen or fresh fruit? I'm biased more so towards fresh fruit, to be honest. I don't really buy much frozen fruit. I just prefer fresh. Like, I don't even get like frozen vegetables. I like it fresh. I like fresh. You know, I'm a little biased towards that. Oh, will you repeat those five, please? Oh, you mean the alkalizing minerals? Yes, that's calcium, potassium, manganese, magnesium, and calcium. And iron, right? Did I say? Calcium, potassium, manganese, magnesium, iron. Okay, yeah, so those are the five. So yeah, basically, I think on a raw diet, on a raw diet, I guess if you're like referring to a raw diet that prioritizes micronutrients, that would definitely be a diet that's abundant in herbs, leafy greens, certain fruits. Like for example, kiwis are like probably would be a micronutrient strong food. Berries, like you're different for all types of berries really. Cherries, grapes. But like if we're talking about like a micronutrient dominant food, that would primarily be leafy greens and herbs. Like leafy greens are like a multivitamin, basically. Like your herbs and leafy greens, like if you're getting things like burdock, bladderwrack, sarsaparilla, sea moss, like these are things that are powerful superfoods and whatnot that I guess would be more on the micro side. Tracy Mack, thank you for the hat and mustache. Appreciate you. Delisha Present, thank you. Good to see you. Long time no see. You're a blessing to many. I appreciate that. Thank you. Appreciate the love and appreciate you tuning in. So, you know, I'm coming back to the TikTok and be more regular. I had some tech issues before when I was trying to do it, but I think I've figured it out now. So fingers crossed, we're back on board for the Monday nights, for the Monday Night Lives. All right, at the new time of 6 p.m. I've been on with y'all since 6 p.m. So yeah, we're an hour and a half deep, y'all. We're an hour and a half deep. Lewis, thank you for the 15 lightning bolts. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody who's contributed to the stream tonight. Definitely double tap the screen to like the stream. And for my folks tuning in on YouTube, definitely hit the like button, like the stream to like the stream. Let's see. How do you heal veins? Venal insufficiency. Oh, that's a big one. And that's kind of like rare. I don't have too many people ask me about venal insufficiency. But venal insufficiency is basically where you have kind of like a choke point built up in your body, right? So people will get that like in the lower body, like in the legs and whatnot, typically. And there's a few things that would really help with that. Like a physical therapy solution would definitely help with that, right? Because you need to move in order to move that lymphatic fluid. in order to dilate the vascular system down the leg or wherever you had it. It's and I assume it's in the leg. You can correct me on that, but I would assume it's in the leg. That's typically the case with most people. But yeah, I think also having more of a detoxifying diet. I think grapefruit is a big food for you. I think kiwis, cherries, these are big foods for you. Pineapples, tangerines, or just citrus fruits in general. These are big for you. Pomegranate, beets, these are big for you. Because these are things that really help to heal and improve your vascular system. And then those polyunsaturated fat sources, right? So your walnuts, dry roasted walnuts, those are big for you. Pumpkin seed kernels, sunflower seed kernels, cashews, pistachios, almonds, these are big for you, right? Those polyunsaturated fat sources, hemp seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, and then staying hydrated, those are big. Also, you can supplement with citrulline malate. And citrulline malate is the precursor to arginine, and arginine is a precursor to something called nitric oxide, which dilates your vascular system. So one thing that I like to do as like a pre-workout, for example, is 9 grams of citrulline malate. Citrulline malate is like a 2-to-1 ratio. It's typically how it comes, right? So for every 2 grams of citrulline is 1 gram of malic acid, right? Citrulline malate. And the malic acid serves as like a chelating and transportation mechanism for the citrulline to maximize absorption. So the 9 grams of that, okay, or is it the other way around? I forget. I feel like I'm misspeaking. Is it 3 grams of citrulline and 9 grams of malic acid? I think it's the other way around, because malic acid is actually more prevalent than citrulline as far as dosage. I got to double check that, but if anything, I'll come back and issue a correction. It's either one of the two. Malic acid is actually phenomenal for healing tissues. So, for example, malic acid is really good. Like if you have damage to your intestines, malic acid is actually very beneficial. This is another reason why I'm a big fan of like apples. It's a simple kind of run-of-the-mill food, but apples are a very rich source of malic acid. Fruits in general, like all the fruits that I mentioned today, all those astringent quality fruits, they contain significant degrees of malic acid. Bananas are also rich in malic acid, so they can be soothing to your gut. Watermelon, cantaloupe, mangoes, right? These are gut healers. They're a big deal. Okay. Your berries, kiwis, and the fruits that are rich sources of vitamin C, they're rich in B vitamins and that malic acid. So that's very good for healing vascular tissue, intestines. And the thing is, healing your vascular tissues and your intestinal issues, the same things do both, right? So you have like throughout your intestines, you have all of these, like you have a massive amount of blood flow and blood capillaries that line your intestines. So like when you eat food, and as that food moves through your intestines and the microvilli pull nutrients from your foods, those foods, boom, they go right into your bloodstream. So there's like a direct transit from your intestines into your bloodstream, right? So a lot of the times when people have poor digestion, it's because of poor blood flow, right? Or vascular damage. So like, for example, having a lot of saturated fat and calcium, as well as protein and sodium in your diet, disproportionate to potassium and water, would actually cause you vascular congestion and calcification of those arteries. And it inhibits your body's ability to pull nutrients from your foods. Malic acid helps to correct for that. And the citrulline actually increases oxygen absorption, oxygen uptake. So that's a good one. Magnesium does the same thing. Potassium does the same thing. Iron does the same thing also. Okay. Berries are a really good source of iron. Okay. So I think if you really want to maximize more iron in your diet, hemp seeds, almonds, dark leafy greens, berries, kiwis, and like purple foods, like dark red or bluish purple foods. So like blackberries, blueberries, black grapes, red grapes, cherries, those dark red things, strawberries, pomegranate, that deep, dark red watermelon. Those things are phenomenal. The color of foods are big indicators of what does what. All right. Folks are hitting me up in the Discord. What's going on in the Discord here? Let me check my messages in the Discord. Oh, there we go. Steph just jumped into the Discord here. There we go. Welcome to the tribe, Steph. There we go. All right, Steph is in the building. Andrea's online. Black Caesar's online. Haley's online. Jay Short is online. Dwayne. Raja. There we go. Look at that. We got a full house in here. Hold on. Juju's online. Juju, are you in the chat? Yeah, definitely. Juju, sound off. Oh. All right, let me catch up to y'all on over here on the TikTok. We're ticking and talking. Look at that TikTok. We're up to 21,000 likes. That's crazy. Look at that. 21K. True. All right. I think, did I answer everybody's questions? Did I miss anything? Does anybody want me to repeat? You seeing 23K? Look at that. I've got some latency going on. I'm missing some things. Let's close out. Do we have any more final questions or anything I missed that people really want me to address? Oh yeah. By the way, I gotta re-announce this, right? If you need, you can book a call with me. Okay, so if you want more of like a I do one-on-one calls. I do this like on a daily basis, every day except Sunday. So we do 60-minute calls where we can talk about your issues. How I get on the Discord, you become a tribe member. So anybody who signs up for coaching or gets a personal plan or signs up for the 12-week mentorship, whatever, you get access to the members Discord. Okay. Let's see. How do I feel about, I think you mean ashwagandha. Is that what you mean, ashwagandha? Ashwagandha is actually, I've seen some really good stuff on it. It's really good for sleep quality. It's an adaptogen. So if you're high strung and anxious, it brings you down. If you're too low energy or in a depressive state, it brings you up. Really good for sleep quality, hormone regulation, digestion. Ashwagandha is really good stuff, yeah. Dedicated for life. Thank you for the cheer ups, the 5 cheer ups. Thank you for the team bracelets, the 2 team bracelets. Dedicated for life, coming through with the love on the stream. All right. So yeah, definitely if you want to, oh yeah, I was saying. So if you want to book a call with me, definitely you can go to my profile, hit the link in the bio. And for those of you watching on YouTube, you definitely can hit the link in the description of this video and book a call with me or sign up for the free newsletter. So for the people on the newsletter, I send you out notifications of when I'm going live, right? So I send emails out to let folks know when I'm going live. So if you want to know when I'm going live, you want to be notified, definitely get on that email list. I don't spam you. It's like 1 email a week where I let you know what's what. Okay. Oh, hold on 1 second. So what is HS? What is that? Avita. Yeah, let me know what HS is. Because I might actually know what it is. I just don't know what HS is short for. Have a good night, Judah. Appreciate you. Doug Wright, how do you feel about spirulina and chlorella? Spirulina and chlorella are actually very powerful things. Some people, they might have some gut discomfort with it, upset stomach, that kind of thing. Generally speaking, it's a really good source of omega-3 essential fatty acids, chlorophyll, also a good source of DHA, EPA, which are essentially those omega-3 essential fatty acids. A full array of B vitamins, good source of vitamin D3, right? What else? In B12. So yeah, good stuff. So the TikTok view numbers, are disproportionate to YouTube. Yeah, TikTok live streaming is pretty big. But also my following on TikTok is much larger than it is on YouTube. Vegan Knowledge, what's going on? Good to see you tuning in. Unfortunately, I'm about to peace out in a little bit, but I just wanted to get to everybody's questions or whoever's got anything left first. Oh, I appreciate the topic emails, Coach. There we go. You get the notifications for when I'm going live, right? Yeah, there you go. All right, let's close out because I don't want to be on here all night. I don't want to go too crazy. Oh, you signed up for the email list? There you go. So yeah, you'll get them notifications. All right, I think we covered it all. We're good. I appreciate everybody tuning in, showing love on the streams. Can you go vegan cold turkey? I did. So yeah, you can. You just have to have a strong enough motivation to do it, but you definitely can. Oh, wait a minute. Agnes is in here? Hold on, what is it? Is that Agnes? Agnes, are you in here? You on the live, Agnes? Where you at? There we go. Agnes, what's going on? How you doing? Good evening. By the way, Starseed, are you in here? I'm kind of curious if Starseed is on tonight. Look at that. We hit the 23K. 23K likes on TikTok. Starseed, what did Starseed change his name to? He changed his handle. I don't remember what it is though, what he changed it to. I always remember him as Starseed. Okay. But yeah, Cali girl, what's going on? Cali girl said, I went vegan cold turkey. That's right. By the way, you still out there in Panama? How's things going? Levane Hall, appreciate you. Have a good night. Let's see. I typed it earlier. It's those boils that form under your arm. HS boils that form under your arm. Because now I'm looking it up. Because now I'm curious. Boils that form. Okay, Hydrodentis suppurativa. Now I know why you just say HS. That is what a mouthful. Also known as acne inversa. I got to look that up. Because, to look at. This is wild. I got to look this up. I don't think anybody has ever asked me about this before. Yeah, I don't think anybody's ever asked me about it before. I'd be very curious to know more about it and what the flare-ups and what causes the flare-ups of it. Ali. We say I tried cold turkey, didn't know what I was doing, was starving, going to most def, need some help. Yeah, you definitely got to have a game plan going in, because when I first went cold turkey vegan, I made some mistakes. I could have did things a lot better starting out. But it's all good though, because I got a real good handle on it, let me tell you something. And I've been very obsessive about optimizing things. So, we all right. All right, let me let y'all go because we're about to hit the 2-hour mark on here. All right, so there will be more live streams. I'm coming back. Definitely going to be dropping more. more gems on the streams. I appreciate everybody coming through, tuning in on TikTok and YouTube. Let's do it again. The next Monday that I do it will be to be announced. But well, hold on, before I say that, that's not true. So the next live stream, the next Monday Night Live, Monday Night Live number 52 is scheduled for the 30th. I'm doing it on the 30th. All right. If I do decide that I'm going to do it on the 23rd, which is next Monday, I'll send out an email alert about that. So I'll let y'all know. All right. So it's been fun. It's been great hanging out with y'all. You know what I mean? Discussing some good game. And yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. So keep tuning in, folks. Appreciate y'all for stopping by. And have a good night. And finally, got to close with the quote again. Anything that isn't growing is dying. So we got to learn how to live or die trying. Good night, y'all.